So if you're interested, this is what happened when I had my first big insight. It was over Thanksgiving 2018, and I was staying with my sister just outside of Chicago. And two things happened at the same time. There was an unexpected storm, snowstorm, and I got sick. And I rarely get sick. And it really put the kibosh on plans that I had. I took off an extra week so that I could check in with my Chicago agent. I've always been very diligent about being a good actor. And I'm like, I'm going to check in with him. I'm going to do a drop off or a drop by at a casting director. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that people know I'm alive and well. Well, those two things made it impossible. And it really irritated me. And it really made me feel like I had wasted my trip, that I was losing out on opportunities. That was a big thing. And that I just was angry about being sick. And then I saw how emotional I was getting. That's the first clue that we're having thoughts that aren't beneficial. So I decided there's only one thing to do, and that's to get well. So I gave in. I let go of everything. And I took some remedies, and I lied in bed. And I'm very lucky because the sister I was staying with is a nurse, so she was helping me out. And as I was starting to feel better, I thought, I'll just email my agent and let him know that I'm still in town. There's still no way that I could really audition or go anywhere because I was too far out of the city. There was snow all over, and I didn't have a car. So I emailed him. And that night, he sent me an audition, an in-person audition. I don't know, for the next day or like it was really close. And I was panicked. Like, oh my God, I'm not feeling well. I can't do an audition. And I don't have a car. And how am I going to get into it? And then I realized I was emotional, which meant I had thoughts that weren't true. So I thought, let me just look at the audition. And I looked at it because, maybe it was easy. Maybe it was something that would excite me. Maybe I could actually do it. And boy, was I pissed off because I saw that it was for a Spanish-speaking woman who was 65 years old. And I'm like, I'm never going to get it. My Spanish is, I was really frustrated. I'm like, what's the point? I would have to take the train in. I would still not feel well. I would be going in for a losing proposition. And then I saw how I was making all of this up. I was settling into my limitations as opposed to the unknown, the real unknown, that I don't know what's going to happen at all. And when I realized that, I felt lighter. And I thought, let's see what happens. Just go on the audition. Oh my gosh, if I just go on the audition, then I will actually get into the casting director's office with a legit reason as opposed to stopping by. I'm like, why am I turning this down? Just do it. It doesn't matter. Have fun. So I got ready, I got prepared, but once I made that the decision with no agenda, I started getting help. My brother-in-law said, hey, I'll come pick you up. and you can stay with me and your sister, and they're in the city. I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. Thank you so much. And he also said, and I'll drive you to your audition tomorrow. I'm like, what? And everybody was helping me. My niece was helping me with my Spanish because she knows it better than I do. I was witnessing how the world conspires once we make a decision, once we let go of making things up, once we let go of making things so hard on ourselves. So I'm about to get ready for the audition the next morning, ready to leave, and I get a notice that I have another audition, one right after the other one. And this one was super easy because it was for a commercial. And I'm like, okay. Oh, I'll just grab a blazer. Quick change. So I go to the first one. It was for a television show. It was a drama, and I was clearly not right for it. And then I go to my commercial audition, and that was fun. And then I decide, because I happened to end up, I don't know, near the Mag Mile or something in Chicago, and it was snowy. And I decided to treat myself to a hot soup or a stew at some Irish pub or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm in Chicago, feeling it, I just was really enjoying life. And as I was eating my lunch, I got a call from my agent from the first audition, and he said, hey, they're really considering you for this role. If you get cast, would you be willing to stay an extra week? And I'm like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. I was so wrong for this role. But if I stay another week, my agent in LA will be pissed off. And I don't think it's worth it because it'll only be one day co-star. And is it worth it? Is the money? It's just, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it again. I'm making stuff up. So I said to my agent, I said, okay, if they book me, can you get me more money? And he said, yeah, we'll sure make it work. You know, if you're going to stay an extra week, we're going to try to get you more money. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, you know what? I am so unattached to this because the odds of him getting more money are pretty damn low. And I'd rather go back to LA where there's more opportunity anyway. So he calls back and says, well, I couldn't get you more money. I'm like, all right. But you're booked, and it's not just one day, it's 3 days. I was witnessing again how life just conspires to take care of us when we're not attached to anything, when we're open to everything, when we're willing to make risks, ask for more money. When did I ever say that? And really mean it. I was willing to walk away. I was okay with whatever happened. And then I was gifted 3 days of work, an extra week in town with my family. But it gets even better because of the way it was scheduled. Even though I was booked for 3 days and paid for 3 days, that middle day, they didn't need me. So I had off, played around in Chicago, and got paid for it. In addition to that, when I was at the table read, I saw friends from the improv world I hadn't seen in like 20 years. It was a reunion. It was so cool. And the man who played my husband in this drama, he was in the last play I did in Chicago before I moved out to LA, decades earlier. And it was such a happy reunion with me and him. Oh, I felt so safe working with him. I had so much fun. And on the third day, we went into double overtime. There was no way I could have planned any of this. No way I could have controlled any of this. No way I could have made it better for myself. I was just open to see opportunity, possibility, and to just play. I have not gone back to my old way of thinking. Sure, I will sometimes do it, but I will see it immediately. And it's not just thinking patterns that have changed. It's seeing these opportunities, knowing these opportunities are there. You know, last year, I was in a short film that got nominated for an Academy Award. How does that happen? I know how it happens. It's just something that happens in life. I could not have planned it. I've never been an awards person. I really don't care about the Academy Awards. But when this happened, I was now in a different game. And I was playing a different game. Whereas before I would have said, no, this is too big of an arena for me to play in. But I'm like, why? Now I see how I have been limiting myself. Now I see how easy it is to just say yes when life gives you things. Now I collect evidence on a daily basis on how life takes care of us and how beautifully we are built to be in the flow of life. And this is what I want to share with everyone. This is what I know everyone is capable of. I could gush and gush and gush. And if I had you next to me, I would point out so many other things. But I'm going to stop there.